Motion by Laura,
Second.
seconded by Brad. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion is carried. Is there anyone in the audience tonight that wishes to speak, or online, that wishes to speak on something that is not on the agenda? Is there anyone in the audience or online that wishes to speak to something that is not on the agenda? Third time, is there anyone in the audience or online that wishes to speak to something that is not on the agenda? Thank you. Okay, our public hearing number 1 is Lauren Richards, request for an interim use, an IUP mining permit. The applicant is seeking for an IUP for a gravel mine on parcel ID 17.005.2000, the northwest quarter of section 5, township 141 north, range 45 west, Keene Township. Look for a motion to open the public hearing.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Josh, seconded by Brad. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Motion is carried. Public hearing is open. Take it away, Matt.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, this is a request for an interim use permit for a new gravel mine. This is located in the northeast part of Clay County in Keene Township. It's actually just to the northeast of the county gravel pit. It's a 168-acre parcel. Primarily the use right now is ag, and there is an inactive gravel mine in the lower left-hand or southwest extent of the property. The zoning is ag general. The overlay zoning is resource protection biological, kind of a little finger coming down here, and then the rest of the parcel is resource protection aggregate. The CUP for this was granted in 1988. With the existing property and surrounding area, there isn't any prime farmland on site. There is high aggregate potential. There's native prairie in the northwest extent of the parcel. There are natural and excavated wetlands present. The surrounding properties do contain high-quality native prairie and prairie chicken habitat as well. And then you can kind of see here, so a lot of the parcel has very high aggregate potential, and then all this green is essentially that native prairie. As for wetlands, there are just some on the west side of the parcel and some on the north here of the parcel. And just because this is so close to one of my favorite landmarks in Clay County, the Buffalo Rock is just to the south here. So you can actually see it on the aerial right here, and this is the parcel down here. But yes, this is worth a trip if you ever have time, if you haven't seen it yet. For the mining, they're going to do open pit extraction. They're going to use front end loaders and bulldozers. Material would be processed on site with portable screening and crushing plants. They're not doing any washing at all. They're looking to operate between April and December, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., so that's consistent with our time, and then Keene Township as well with their required operating hours. Looking at maybe 30 days out of the calendar year for doing crushing, just for bigger jobs, and having 2 to 3 equipment operators and 8 to 12 truck drivers on site. Dust control would be a mix of water and calcium chloride as needed. They would do contouring, vegetative cover, and they'd have to comply with their stormwater permit. And then they plan on topsoil stockpiling that to be seeded and then reused for reclamation. So some haul route and environmental considerations. So this would pass through sensitive native prairie habitat, greater prairie chicken booming grounds. So dust control, minimizing truck speeds, limiting early morning noise is essential, and then potentially coordination with the DNR, and then also the Clay County Highway Department as well, just on road maintenance. So their sites here, Hall Road follows this Township Road 170th. out to County 108, which is a paved road. Did not receive any comments from the township or the general public on this request, though approval may be required by Keene Township, so they'd need to check with the township on that. Looking at how this request aligns with our comprehensive and transportation plan goals and objectives, we have a goal to foster a balanced approach to aggregate resource extraction that is compatible with the natural resources and rural character of Clay County, and to avoid or mitigate impacts to groundwater, surface water, native prairie, woodlands, and wetlands for new or expanding mining operations. Really, the big thing here is just with all the native prairie habitat in the area, really controlling that dust control on the roads, haul roads, and in the mine itself. Part of the proposed mining area does appear to include a wetland or a portion of a wetland, so wetland consultation with our Wetland Conservation Act coordinator must occur prior to any mining commencement, so they can avoid that. We do require phased end reclamation plans and bonds, and they've indicated that reclamation will occur as mining progresses, and then there is a reclamation bond requirement with every gravel pit. And then just considering cumulative impacts of mining, so there would be that with the nearby Clay County Felton pit, there's also a Northern Improvement pit that's been, and both of those mines have been in operation since at least the 50s or 60s, so very old, maybe even the Northern Improvement pit probably a lot longer than that. Paying particular attention to the sensitive environment, and then also just with 170th Street being gravel road, just making sure there's regular maintenance and dust control on that. Any questions for me at all?
Hearing none, would the applicant like to step up to the mic and introduce yourself and speak your piece?
I'm Ian Severson. I work for Lauren Richards. He wasn't able to get here yet. I don't have anything to add unless you got specific questions on anything.
I guess I'll go first. So this isn't the first mine you guys have operated in?
It's not.
In Clay County, so you're aware that if, this is approved and magically you mistakenly are mining 15 more acres than you're supposed to, that there could be some punitive.
Absolutely. We've been through that before, and we've learned our lesson and went through all the steps necessary to fix our past problems.
And I encourage you to reach out to our county WACA specialist, because it may be, because this is an old mine, that those wetlands may not be actionable wetlands because they're artificial.
Sure.
So that was all I had.
Mr. Chair?
Paul?
Oh, I just have a question for Mr. Severson. If there's a third party that's going to be doing the stripping or site prep, like a Saponiac, or will you be doing it?
We do all our own stripping and reclamation.
Okay.
They may do a little bit, but just as they're there, but we do the majority of it.
And I worked with Stefan, everybody has.
That's who does our crushing at our other pit when we crush in there. So.
Just a question for Matt first, and then awareness. Matt, what's the setback for the native prairie?
So we have a setback for anything that's zoned resource protection biological, 100 feet.
100 feet?
Yep.
You're aware of that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, well, Mr. Chair, just to add that Mr. Severson, Mr. Richards, and I have met a handful of times going into earlier this year on this on this proposed site, even into last year, I think, and they just wanted to make sure that they're doing their due diligence ahead of time.
And they're, you don't, I'm assuming they won't be required, they'll be required to put it back to natural state, because in your notes you'd stated that the prior mining didn't do any reclamation.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, that's correct. The prior pit, the conditional use permit did not have any conditions attached to it, no requirements for reclamation. So that would be a kind of separate, the mining here would take place, would be separate from, go back to a map here. Yeah, so it would be separate from this.
Okay, so
Inactive.
they wouldn't be required to do anything with, unless they go in there and mine.
Yeah, unless they use this for whatever reason, no, they would not be required to reclaim that.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else on the board?
Mr. Chair, just a quick question. I don't see anything about expected runoff direction. Is the flow on site, or do they have to implement any best management practices to keep runoff off site?
Yeah, Mr. Chair and Mr. Schroeder, they would be directing all stormwater runoff into the interior of the pit. Nothing would be discharged.
Thank you. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak for or against? Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak for or against this IUP? Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak for or against? Hearing none, look for a motion to adjourn the public hearing.
So moved.
Motion by Brad, second by Laura. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion is carried. Public hearing is closed. Now we will. Okay, find my stuff. Go through the findings of fact. The interim use will not be injurious to the health, safety, morals, and general welfare of residents of Clay County. The interim use will not be injurious to the use and enjoyment of other property in the immediate vicinity for the purpose already permitted. The establishment of the interim use will not impede the normal and orderly development and improvement of surrounding property for uses predominant in the area. Adequate measures have been or will be taken to provide utilities, access roads, drainage, and off-street parking and loading spaces as required by this ordinance. Adequate measures have been or will be taken to prevent or control offensive odor, fumes, dust, noise, and vibration, water pollution, and soil erosion, so that none of these will constitute a nuisance, and to control lighted signs or other lights in such a manner that no disturbance to neighboring properties will result. The interim use will not create an excessive burden on current or anticipated public infrastructure or services that serve or are proposed to serve the area, including but not limited to parks, schools, public safety services, roads, water supply, sanitary sewers, storm sewers, unless the county and the applicant establish a development agreement that determines how such impacts will be resolved. The interim use is allowed by this ordinance and conforms with any specific use standards established in Chapter 8 as may be applicable. The interim use is consistent with the goals and objectives of the Clay County Comprehensive and Transportation Plan and any comprehensive plan of a township or city as may be applicable. And staff has 13, 14, 15.
15.
Paul? Okay, yeah, I didn't find that one, so thank you. Okay, staff has listed 15 potential requirements. And they appear to be keeping in line with what we have done in the past and keep in line with gravel pits in that area. Or in the entire county, actually. Does anybody have any thing they would need to add, or? And if there's a case of emergency, the, flood or behind because of weather, they would just need to contact, and you've done this before, contact Matt and staff, and they could, or, may give you a permit to work longer, I'm assuming you have access to or have looked at these 15 recommendations and understand and are able to follow them?
Yeah, we can follow them. This is the first time I've seen them for this particular permit, but we can follow them all.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve conditions 1 through 15.
We have a motion by Brad to approve the IUP with conditions 1 through 15. Second by Kurt. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, motion is carried. IUP is granted. Okay, our next hearing is the Spring Prairie CSG LLC request for a cup. The applicant is seeking a conditional use permit for a 1 megawatt community solar garden on parcel ID 27.004.3000 in part of the northwest quarter of Section 4, Township 140N, Range 46W, Spring Prairie Township. Look for a motion to open the public hearing. Motion by Laura, second by Paul. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, motion is carried. Public hearing is open. Take it away, Matt.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So this is a CUP request for a 1 megawatt community solar garden. This is at the intersection of Trunk Highway 9 and County State Aid Highway 26. It's currently agricultural, and there is an existing 1 megawatt community solar garden permitted by CUP in 2019 on site. The zoning of this property is agricultural general. And so the request is to establish this community solar garden on approximately 6.63 acres of farmland, part of this community solar garden program, which allows for residents, businesses, and other entities to subscribe to solar power and receive bill credits if they can't do it on their own property. and that's accessible to Xcel Energy customers in Minnesota. Again, looking at site selection criteria, level terrain, amount of sunlight, proximity to electrical infrastructure and landowner participation, and the ability to interconnect to the grid through Xcel Energy. It's kind of why we're seeing a lot of these requests and projects in the Highway 9 corridor, just because of that proximity to the infrastructure and it being in Xcel Energy territory. So the goal is to begin construction in 2026 and conclude in 2027. The project has about a 35-year lifespan, be about 2,400 solar panels, max height of 8 feet. And in Clay County, our maximum height requirement is 15. They would also have to establish beneficial habitat and pollinator vegetation as part of this as well. There's a decommissioning plan to full removal of all equipment and restoration of the site to ag production. Appreciate the applicant providing probably the most detailed cost breakdown of solar decommissioning that we have seen thus far, so that's much appreciated. The estimated cost, about $306,406, and there's a salvage value of $102,818,000, with a net cost of $226,000. Considerations for this request would take about 6.63 acres of prime farmland out of production. We did not receive any public comment on this request. This was approved by Spring Prairie Township at their last meeting, so they did get a permit from the township. The township did not have any issues. They will likely require an access permit from the Highway Department to connect to CSAH 26. So while this request relates to our comprehensive plan goals and objectives, we do have a goal to support the long-term protection of the county's strong and diverse ag economy, being that community solar gardens, they do add diversity to our ag economy and allow producers to diversify their operations and revenue streams. The development is compatible with the character and quality of the county's agricultural areas. A lot of these are going up right along major transportation corridors and hubs. We do have a goal to protect prime agricultural soils from commercial, industrial, and residential development. This is something that would take 6.63 acres of prime farmland or prime farmland if drained out of ag production for a minimum of 35 years. There's the possibility that the site could be restored to farmland, as soil loss would not occur, and it's a pretty small scale project. We also have a goal to encourage commercial and industrial development that is in harmony with the ag and rural character of Clay County. Get comments from folks that community solar gardens can be detracting from the rural character of Clay County, but can also be seen as an emerging component of the agricultural landscape. And then to avoid or mitigate against commercial and industrial development in or near environmentally sensitive areas, this project is not in or near any environmentally sensitive areas. And then to avoid or mitigate against commercial and industrial development that increases the potential for land use conflicts with rural, residential, or ag uses. So this use is relatively passive. It doesn't generate any excess traffic, noise, vibrations, or dust, and generates power for Minnesota businesses, residents, and institutions. We do have a goal to grow and restore prairie and woodland areas in Clay County for the benefit and enjoyment of Clay County businesses, residents, and visitors. And this would result in about 6 acres of pollinator and wildlife habitat. And that is also a requirement per our ordinance as well. Any questions for me? Feel like we've seen a number of these this year, so.
Is the applicant present or a representative and would like to speak for the project? Please come to the mic and identify yourself for the record.
Yeah, my name is Jacob Van Domlin. My address is 33 West State Street, Geneva, Illinois, 60134. I have nothing else to add. If you have any questions for me, I'm happy to answer them.
And I have nothing. It's, pretty boilerplate at this point. I appreciate that you put in there that you're really looking at 2 years before it's done. Mr. Steichen, do you have anything to add?
Just a question, are you involved with any of the other projects along that stretch in that area?
No, it would be me if anyone, I'm not aware of any. So this is our only project in this area, in this county.
Okay, and I'm assuming there's no issue getting an entrance off of CASA 26, that close to the intersection?
I did speak to the county engineer about that and said that just go through the access permitting process.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak or online that wishes to speak for or against? Is there anyone in the audience or online that wishes to speak for or against? Is there anyone in the audience or online that wishes to speak for or against? Hearing none, look for a motion to close the public hearing. Motion by Sebastian. Second by Kurt. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Public hearing is closed. Okay, we will go through the findings of fact. The conditional use will not be injurious to the health, safety, morals, and general welfare of residents of Clay County. The conditional use will not be injurious to the use and enjoyment of other property in the immediate vicinity for the purpose already permitted. Establishment of the conditional use will not impede the normal and orderly development and improvement of surrounding property for uses predominant in the area. Adequate measures have been or will be taken to provide utilities, access roads, drainage, off-street parking, and loading spaces as required by this ordinance. Adequate measures have been or will be taken to prevent or control offensive odor, fumes, dust, noise, vibration, water pollution, and soil erosion, so that none of these will constitute a nuisance, and to control lighted signs or other lights in such a manner that no disturbance to neighboring properties will result. The conditional use will not create an excessive burden on current or anticipated public infrastructure or services that serve or are proposed to serve the area, including to but not limited to parks, schools, public safety services, roads, water supply, sanitary sewers, storm sewers, unless the county and the applicant establish a development agreement that determines how such impacts will be resolved. The conditional use is allowed by this ordinance and conforms with any specific use standards established in Chapter 8 as may be applicable. The conditional use is consistent with the goals and objectives of the Clay County Comprehensive and Transportation Plan and any comprehensive plan of a township or city as may be applicable. Okay, and staff has established 6.
Yep, and Mr. Chair, these are pretty standard across the board for all of our community solar garden permits. I did make one suggested change on the decommissioning bond, or to just make it an even $300,000.
And the township has already voted on and approved
Correct.
this, so, Mr. Steichen?
Mr. Chair and Matt, I know in the past we've had some discussion on keeping the weeds down, the fence up. Is that all covered under the number 7 or of the findings of facts? long as they establish, well, the standards established in Chapter 8, does that cover those issues?
Yeah, and correct. And as part of the Minnesota statutes 216B, 1642, one thing that the Board of Water and Soil Resources does is they actually go out and do checks on all of these to make sure that they're meeting that beneficial habitat standard. And so that is part of that.
Okay, anybody else have any questions or comments, subtractions or additions? Hearing none, look for a motion to approve or disapprove.
Steichen approve the permit requested.
Motion by Commissioner Steichen to approve,
Second.
second by Brad. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion is carried. Permit is approved. Thank you, everyone. Our next public hearing is Stephen and Teresa Apatril, request for a subdivision. The applicant is seeking to plat a two-lot, one-block subdivision on parcel ID 19.017.4200 in part of the northwest quarter of the southeast quarter and the southwest quarter of the southeast quarter, Section 17, Township 138N, Range 48W, Kurtz Township. Look for a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Sebastian, seconded by Brad. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Public hearing is open. Matt, take it away.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, this is a request for a platted subdivision. The location of this would be just south of the recently approved platted subdivision on the east side of Highway 75, north of 90th Avenue and south of 80th Avenue. The base zoning, or the zoning for this property, base district is Ag General. The overlay district would be, there is some floodplain fringe on, in the southwest part of the property. So this would be a preliminary plat, one block, two lot. The name would be the Apatril subdivision. The parcel is 66 acres. Land use is agricultural. There aren't any structures on the property. The crop equivalency rating on the property ranges from 67 to 73, which is considered good, very good. And there aren't any known wetlands on the property as well. Improvement plans. So the lot sizes would range from 10 to 53.73 acres. There would not be any internal public roads. It'd be a direct access connection to US Highway 75. They don't have any restrictive covenants. There was township action on this request. September 8th, they considered a request from a different applicant to rezone and plat the property, and that was denied. On September 23rd, they heard a request from the landowner for this plat. The request was approved, but the township did voice operation to the siting of a concrete plant or other industrial use at this location, citing loss of farmland, neighborhood concerns about traffic safety and potential groundwater use. One thing that was discussed at the township meeting on September 23rd was a concrete plant would be permitted as an interim use in this zoning district, the agricultural general zoning district. So whether there's a plat or not, that would still be permitted. It would still have to go through the interim use permit process. And then we did receive public comments, and you all should have received the letter that I'd received, provided to you. Concerns about noise, dust, vibration, highway safety, just this as being a 60 mile per hour, 2-lane road. Comments about long-term planning and zoning, just having industrial uses that could disrupt progression and undermine long-term planning at this location. Then impact just with the recent commercial industrial development. Neighbors have observed impacts already on US Highway 75. Also received a phone call from a neighboring property owner, Mr. Victor Hagerud, who strongly emphasized that the county should protect rural character, and that his opinion was that development along this corridor should match US Highway 81 corridor, which is in North Dakota and Fargo, and it's across the river. It's primarily residential. And then industrial development limiting the growth of Moorhead to the south. Just again, all these comments relative to this plat would be more appropriate once we know for sure if there is an interim use permit for in the future. Did also receive additional comments from MnDOT. They would require an access permit and as part of that a site plan as well. Just looking at the average annual daily traffic count for Highway 75 at this location, there's about 1,646 trips or vehicles a day, and that's 2024 data. So that's the most recent count. How this request would relate to our comprehensive transportation plan goals and objectives. We have a goal to recognize and protect the ag character of Clay County, protect prime ag soils from commercial, industrial, residential development. And the proposed rezoning has the potential to take approximately 10 acres of prime farmland out of production, ranging from a CER of 67 to 73. This would be considered to be good farmland. And then that we just have about 297,600 acres of prime farmland if drained, and 154,240 acres of prime farmland. We have a goal to encourage commercial and industrial development that is in harmony with the ag and rural character of Clay County, and to promote value-added ag, commercial, and industrial development in agricultural service center areas and along transportation corridors and hubs. So the proposed plat would allow for ag, residential, and some commercial, such as storage units or industrial uses, like a concrete plant, would be situated along Highway 75, which would be a major transportation corridor in Clay County. Again, just noting that there's no rezoning request with this plat, so these be limited in uses that would be allowed to the ag general zoning district. We have a goal to encourage commercial and industrial development that is in harmony with the ag and rural character of Clay County, and to avoid or mitigate against commercial and industrial development. That increases the potential for land use conflicts with rural residential ag or ag uses. Just noting that the closest residence is about a quarter mile north of the proposed plat, and there's also a residence 0.4 miles west of this proposed plat as well. Any questions for me at all?
Want to be clear, Matt, there's nothing on this property at all right now,
Correct.
nothing. It's the middle of the
Farmland.
field. Yeah.
Yep.
And so this piece was picked in this location, you know, for any reason specific?
Run over to it here quick. So the original request to the town board, and that would have gone to the county, was for that plat and rezoning specifically for a concrete plant.
Okay.
Yep.
And one of the reasons I'm asking this question, and I don't know if the bigger piece that's on is owned by same owner or not, but if 75 is some issue, You know, why wouldn't it be on some location that would exit on the 90th or something in a safer place? Just asking.
Just to the,
But that's not what's being asked.
yep.
Okay.
Anyone else have anything for Matt? Okay, would the applicant care to come up and speak to your project, introduce, well, you know the drill.
John Lowry with Lowry Engineering, and I'm here on behalf of Steve Alpetrello, and the landowner. And I think Matt laid out everything really well. One item that I would stress is, Steve is interested in, and his wife are interested in creating a 10-acre parcel that they can market for sale as an agricultural use as permitted through the county ordinance. That's the only request that we're here to discuss and asking approval on tonight. There may or may not be additional requests coming in the future, but at this point, he's looking for a 10-acre marketable piece of property, which I believe he's allowed to do by right through the code. So that's what the request is. So if there's any questions of us, feel free. Here to help and answer in any way I can.
I guess I'll ask my question.
Yeah.
Why this particular spot in that piece of land when we're talking about potential
Yep.
danger on 75 when maybe, I'm not saying you can or can't, be exiting off on 90th?
Well, I think the same danger, the perceived danger, I don't know that there is, but I think the same perceived danger would be the same if it was to the south onto a township road and then onto 75. You're going to have the same traffic, it'll be stop controlled from the east. And this location is where in the future at some point, this is where an access will go for MnDOT. This is where they prefer.
That's where they want.
When this land develops, this is where an access will be located.
Okay.
We've been in contact with MnDOT, and that driveway location is preferred by them.
That
Yep.
makes sense to me.
And if a turn lane or something is required at any point in time, that'll be identified and built out for safety concerns. They haven't expressed that with the level of traffic that could be anticipated here, so, for one site.
Yeah. Thank you.
So what you're saying is that right now, even though, we see that there's talk about, potential concrete plant that tonight,
Yep,
all you're talking about is splitting off 10 acres for a potential
sale.
agricultural.
Yep, yeah, and with the ag zoning and any uses that are permitted underneath ag zoning. There's no rezone request or anything else. It's just creating a 10-acre parcel that they can hold for sale with agricultural uses. Yep, that's correct.
And then that would allow, a fertilizer plant or something based, an ag-based business to go in there if we would allow this?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I think there's a little bit of difference between ag uses and uses allowed in the agricultural general zoning district, because there are some uses that are not ag, such as a batch plant, concrete plant, asphalt batch plant, gravel pit, those types of things. We do permit those as the typically either interim uses or conditional uses in the ag general zoning district. So it would still, whatever use would be proposed would still have to go through the permitting, public hearing process, the permitting process. You would have to, as a planning commission, or the applicant would have to actually demonstrate that they can satisfy the review standards that we had just gone through in the past two public hearings, and that you would make findings for that, essentially. regardless of the plat, an applicant could come forward and propose a concrete plant on the entire 66-acre parcel if they so choose, because it's allowed in our code in this zoning district, provided that it meets all the setbacks and that it satisfies our general review standards and criteria for interim use permits.
Thank you.
Sure.
Mr. Staken?
I just want to make sure I understand this clearly. We're just here to decide on the plat tonight.
Correct.
And it's the applicant's risk or their idea what they can do with it afterwards. That'll come back in some fashion if it's approved or not approved, but we're just focusing on the plat tonight.
Correct.
Right. Kind of getting off in the weeds on a lot of things there.
Paul?
Just want to make it really clear in my mind. So we're saying, even though I may believe that the very best use of this land is it farmland, and we're going to burn up some good farmland for another use, and that's okay. That we can't stop that.
I'm not saying that, because we do have a comprehensive plan in place. We have goals and objectives in the comprehensive plan to protect prime farmland. If you as a planning commission in the future make a finding that this is not an appropriate use here because of it conflicts with our comprehensive plan, goals and objectives, that is a perfectly reasonable.
But that wouldn't be a decision made tonight.
No,
That's
that would
at
be
another time.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. That would be at another, if whatever development or proposal comes forward in the future.
Okay.
Yep.
So everything's cool tonight, exactly what they're doing, and the fact that it is prime farmland is just part of the deal. It goes with this other use is available to that land.
Correct. Yep.
Thank you. All right.
And I would also add that a lot of the, just with batch plants in general, they're not conditional use permits, so they're not land rights. They're interim use permits. Essentially every single batch plant that's been permitted as an interim use in Clay County has an expiration date on it as a condition. Typically, we've seen some that are 1 year, we've seen some that are 5 years, we've seen some that are 10 years.
Okay.
That's part of the interim use process. And that's similar for, now if you wanted to do like a egg service establishment, so more commercially oriented to agriculture, which would be allowed, that would be a conditional use permit, so that would be a land right. So no expiration on those.
I got you.
Yep.
All right. Thank you for that.
Yep.
Okay, Okay, hearing nobody else, is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak for or against?
Ron Knoll.
Pardon?
Ron Knoll.
Okay, please come to the mic and state your name, and please come to if you wish to speak, that's what you have to do.
I have no questions or comments at this time, other than to express my concern for the batch plant that we know is coming down the road, so.
Thank you. Okay, is there anyone else in the audience that wishes to speak for or against?
Dale Scholfelt.
If so, please come to the mic, introduce yourself.
Dale Scholfelt, 9216 14th Street South, Moorhead. I'm like a half mile away from where this is gonna happen. And there's gonna be a lot more traffic coming down these roads. I live on 90th Avenue, which is a gravel, narrow road, and it's actually comes from the Downer Road. And we're just afraid we're gonna get a lot more traffic on that narrow gravel road, people coming here, and then the dust and the noise, all the construction equipment. beeping all the time, and then all the water use that they're gonna be doing. This just kind of concerns us. We're against it. The Schofelds are.
You? Anyone else in the audience wish to speak for or against?
Paul Bannerman.
My name is Paul Bannerman. We reside at 8462 Highway 75 South. We're the closest property owner. Our families lived there for 80 years. Currently, they still live there. We're a lot of safe concerns the Schofields have, the water usage. We're concerned with water wells running dry. There's no definite source around how long it's going to last. Increased traffic, noise, dust, noise pollution, lights from everything, you know, yard lights and such going on around us. The increased the noise from the beeping of the trucks and constant use from that. And as previously stated, we see they're eventually going to try and put a batch plant. They've been trying to do one for a couple of years, either asphalt plant and or a concrete plant. They've been trying for years to do it, and we're extremely opposed to this.
Thank you.
Jeff Julien.
It would be terrible to live next to that. Am I supposed to say my address?
Just your name, please.
Jeff Julien. It would be horrible to live next to a batch plant, but I actually have a small concrete company, and like 5 years ago, I couldn't even get concrete because I'm a small company, and the other batch plants were really busy. I think they were doing like the diversion project. So it wouldn't hurt the community to have another batch plant available for smaller concrete companies such as myself. That's it.
Okay, thank you.
Chair, there are 3 people online.
Is there anyone online that wishes to speak for or against? If so, please state your name and speak your piece. Anyone online that wishes to speak for or against? Is there anyone in line or anybody else in the audience that wishes to speak for or against? Yeah, I can't. I hear nobody responding. I see nobody else in the audience. Look for a motion to, hearing nothing else, unless anybody else has questions for Matt, look for a motion to close the public hearing.
So move.
Motion by
Second.
Brad,
Second.
seconded by Sebastian. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion is carried. Public hearing is closed. Thank you.
So, Mr. Chair, just with all of our platted subdivisions, kind of 3 options for you. One would be to authorize or recommend approval and the authorization of the final plat. Once that's completed, you would have the opportunity to review that again before it comes to the county board. You could just authorize the preparation of the final plat and waive that right to review and recommend to the county board, or recommend denial of the plat to the board.
Okay. And I appreciate everybody speaking their piece over this, but tonight, our main and really only task for this board is to advise the county commission whether we approve taking this 10-acre parcel out of this parcel. That is our one and only task, and Mr. Slicken was correct. And we need to be careful not to get too much in the weeds. I do appreciate people coming to a board ahead of time to express their concern over something that may or may not be in the works, because it's far better to get in early than late. That being said, we only have three options. And I would I guess I don't really need to recommend anything, but, look for a motion to recommend to the county commissioners for approval or a denial of this plat. Mr. Staken?
Staken approves the request for the plat. And is it to waive the right, is that the most streamlined way to move forward on this?
Yeah, Mr. Chair and Mr. Steichen, I think if you're looking for a motion to recommend, I'd be a motion to recommend authorization of the preparation of the final plat and then waive the planning commission right to review to the county board.
That's the direction I would like to go.
I'll second.
Seconded by Mr. Schroeder. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Plat request is moved on to the county commission.
And Mr. Chair, just for your awareness, then for the folks who did attend this meeting tonight, the earliest that the county board could hear that plat request would have to confirm with the developer as well, would be November 18th, just with public hearing notice, Minnesota open meeting law, and then also with the Tuesday, November 11th being Veterans Day, there's not a board meeting on that date. So in order to comply with the public notice requirements, and then also the holiday, the 18th would be the earliest, but that I'd need to discuss further with the developer on getting that final plat.
And there is also an end date, or must be by date, correct? Or is that just on the next hearing?
For the plat?
Yes.
Yeah, it's typically 120 days, so.
For the 18th. Thanks, everyone. Moving on to our final planned hearing of the evening is Scott Manthe, request for a platted subdivision. The applicant is seeking to plat a 12-lot, one-block subdivision on parcel ID 13.009.3000 in part of the southwest quarter of Section 9, Township 139 North, Range 45W, Holly Township. Look for a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Motion by Kurt,
Second.
seconded by Brad. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Take it away, Matt.
Yep, this is a request for a platted subdivision. The location, this is west and south of Holly, south of Highway 10, on the east side, or west side, sorry, of Mariah Lake and east side of 200th Street. I got my east and west mixed up there, so I apologize for that. The base district is Ag General. The overlay district is general floodplain, and then some shoreland special protection as well. So the request would be for a preliminary plat for a one-block, 12-lot residential subdivision. The plat name would be the Oaks on Mariah Lake subdivision. This is a 67-acre parcel. Current land use is agricultural. There aren't any structures on the property. Very wide range of crop equivalency ratings here, ranging from 24 to 67 Not a whole lot of prime farmland on this property. And then 3 kind of major wetland complexes as well. You can see those here. We'll just say that the developer did work with the Clay SWCD and the Minnesota Board of Water and Soil Resources on a wetland delineation to avoid impacts to the wetland. So they had their, it's a pretty intensive process with site visits and then having a technical evaluation panel meeting. And they did provide a notice that they were in concurrence with where these wetlands are located on the property. So improvement plans for this would be 11 residential lots ranging from a little over 2.5 acres to 8.5 acres, the average size being 4.16 acres. There would be one large 15.5 acre outlot here, and then one a 70-foot right-of-way with a 24-foot wide internal road. Stormwater management involving kind of the wetlands and then a stormwater pond as well, and then restrictive covenants. Private sewer, the lots appear to have ample space for 2 drain fields, and then private wells as well. The nearby well depths, they range from about 55 to 88 feet, and pump tests about 15 to 40 gallons per minute. So our minimum standard is typically 5. So they seem to exceed that. Here's just a closer look at that plat for you and where the road goes. Road design really is to avoid wetlands and then also the general floodplain zoning as well, which kind of encompasses the shoreline here and then this larger wetland as well. Township action on this, they did approve this preliminary plat at their September 25th Planning Commission and October 7th meeting. They also did grant variances. We recently updated our land development ordinance to reduce the ordinary high water level structure setback from 200 feet to 150 to match state standards. Holly Township is in the process of doing that. They haven't quite done that yet. So they did grant variances to match that count on the riparian lots, on the lake lots, to match that 150-foot minimum setback. They are also in the process of getting the road agreement finalized as well. A couple additional comments. No public comments have been received. Did not receive any comments from the DNR. This is something that we will have to send to, as a shoreland, to the final plat to the DNR as well. Just some minor updates to the signature page, and then we require a title opinion as well. Should just also note that just the name of the road would have to be changed to match Clay County road naming standards. I talked to our addressing specialist, our GIS and communications director, and he said it likely would be like a 7th Avenue to fit into the kind of the naming, the street conventions, naming conventions and addressing. The comprehensive plan, how this relates to comprehensive plan. We have a land use residential goal to provide opportunities for quality rural residential development in Clay County. This would typically fit with this, just providing high quality, low density rural residential opportunities, just with larger size lots as well. We do have also to encourage the development of ag and conservation subdivisions that cluster residential development on small lots and provide for shared open spaces. This isn't formally a conservation subdivision, but they do have a large outlot that would contain probably the most prominent natural feature on the site, which would be that wetland, and then help preserve open space. And the design is really to, of the subdivision, I think, is to minimize any or avoid impacts to wetlands and then to stay out of that general floodplain zoning as well. We have a goal to permit large non-farm residential development if a portion of the property is preserved or converted to a use that retains rural character of the land. So these again are large lots with a large outlot as well. There's no change to the agricultural general zoning. We have a goal or an objective to avoid or mitigate residential development on or near environmentally sensitive lands or lands with high quality natural resources. And just want to point out here that the applicant did coordinate to delineate with Clay SWCD and Bowser, the Board of Water and Soil Resources, to delineate and avoid wetlands. No structures are proposed, could be proposed within floodplain areas. Development setbacks meet or exceed the county standards. There's a lot of goals and objectives for this one, so bear with me here. We have a goal to protect and enhance remnant tracts of native prairie and forest for the benefit of enjoyment of Clay County residents and visitors. There are some remnant woodlands. They'd have to be retained. There's covenants requiring mature trees be preserved. And then just large lot configuration provides flexibility for homeowners to site dwellings with minimal disturbance to existing vegetation. Then we have a goal or an objective under this goal to protect native and high-quality prairie and woodland tracts from residential, commercial, industrial development. We'll note that this property does have a history of ag production. No natural heritage data for the property indicates the presence of native prairie or sensitive species, so it was farmed. Good portions of it were farmed back in the 30s. And actually, I should have brought the aerial photo, but the 1939 aerial photo shows that they were actually farming in the Maria Lake, in the bed of the lake at the time. So, which was common in the late 1930s. A lot of lakes in Clay County, they're shallow. A lot of them were farmed. Yep. Yeah. Potatoes, I think, a lot, yeah. We have a shoreland and stormwater goal category to protect and enhance the health and vitality of Clay County surface waters, including lakes, rivers, and streams for the benefit and enjoyment of Clay County residents and visitors. Subdivision does meet all the shoreland standards. They do have a stormwater plan in place. We have a goal to reduce development pressure on natural environment lakes in Clay County, of which Maria Lake is. This would be considered low-density development. A lot of the minimum lot sizes and lot widths are exceeded in this proposed plat. Then we have a goal to maintain and enhance riparian areas of public waters, especially within shore impact zones. So in our 150-foot setback from the ordinary high water level or from the shore impact zone would be half of that, so 75 feet essentially from the water. And so we have regulations in place to manage those areas and to protect the public water. And then an objective to continue to enforce shoreline regulations on Clay County lakes, rivers, and streams. Again, this proposal complies with all of our lot dimensional standards, so it's consistent with our shoreland regulations. Any questions for me at all?
Yeah, I appreciate them, Scott, coming to ahead of time, going to Bowser and visiting with Tony and going over the WACA things. That's a positive step. I guess a general question for me is, so what, it's an environmental lake, what uses are allowed on the lake specifically?
A natural environment or state shoreland rules basically classify lakes. There's natural environment, there's general development, there's recreational development. A lot of it is dependent on the amount of shoreline, the size of the lake, the depth, the development at the time, existing development at the time, and all goes into the determination. And from there, really, that informs what the minimum lot sizes would be, what the minimum setbacks would be in the state shoreland rules is based on that lake classification. So for example, Turtle Lake is a recreational development lake. The setbacks for Turtle Lake are smaller than, or shorter, yep, and the lot sizes too.
I guess does this prohibit somebody at 6 o'clock on the morning of July 4th go out there with their jet ski and tear around at 80 miles an hour?
I would not recommend taking a jet ski on this lake because you're gonna ruin it.
Well, I mean, are there legal
No,
restrictions
No.
on that kind of use?
nope. Nope, but really this lake, I mean, the depth, max depth is probably 10 feet. You'd maybe get a small pontoon on it. It's pretty, it'd be a nice lake for duck hunting. Yep,
Until the houses go on it.
unless the houses are duck hunter, or the homeowners are duck hunters, then it's, yeah. So, but it's also an impaired lake too for, I want to say, aquatic recreation, because of phosphorus. So it's probably not a lake that you want to swim in either, as well, or limit your swimming.
Okay, Mr. Kravinoff?
Yeah, Matt, where it has here about provide a fully executed township road resolution, what does specifically that mean? In this case?
It varies from township to township, but in this case, they would be, the township, we don't allow public or private roads in Clay County, so they have to be public, so they'd have to be taken on by the township. And some townships just have a resolution that they pass that say, yep, we'll take over the road, we will maintain it, but that ultimately means that they hire the county to maintain it.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yep. I know in Holly Township with a lot of their subdivisions, they have pretty detailed requirements for their road agreements.
Okay.
That kind of go more into the actual specs and design of the road itself. Yep.
And then with that to township, then the requirement of the name change would be by the county.
That'd be by the county. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Thank you.
But the board would not be able to consider this request until that agreement is, the county board, until that agreement is executed.
Mr. Steichen?
Mr. Chair and Matt, on the one slide, you mentioned there's enough room for 2 drain fields. Does that mean it's a shared septic?
Oh, that would be just a requirement, just in the state rules, just that there's an ample space in case you have a drain field that fails, that there'd be a spot for a backup drain field.
I mean, for each lot?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And then, if the applicant speaks, I had a comment for him, but I guess that was my question of you.
Anyone else? Thank you, Matt. Would the applicant care to come up, state your name, and speak to your proposal?
My name is Scott Manthe. Looking at doing this development for my kids. My family's here, and they're looking to move back to the Holly area. Some of them are, the oldest 2 are married, and my daughter's not married yet, but they have a desire to be back in the Holly School District if they have kids and things like that. And so I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Holly area, but it's very tough to find property that's existing to build on or to buy. Houses are expensive, more expensive than in Moorhead, for instance. And so it's a very tight market. So when this property came up, again, I looked at it a second time. I looked at buying this piece of property as when it was foreclosed on by the previous owner, Paul Johnson. And I was recommended not to buy it at that time because of some outstanding liens and things. Those have been cleaned up when it was inherited by his brothers, Gary and Daryl. And they decided to put the property up on a Pifer's auction. And at that time, I I considered it and visited with both Everett from the township and Matt from the county prior to purchasing the property, laid out a potential development plan that had 14 residential lots. After working with Jacob Duscher, who's online from Moore Engineering, in order to fit both the existing township rules and the current county rules. With the township rules not being updated yet, we ended up having to reduce the number of lots that would be buildable lots to 11 lots. And then also, this is, there's a lot of work that went into designing these lots so they'd be good places to build. And the township was able to grant us the 150-foot setback, like Matt mentioned, on 2 of the lots, 2 of the 5 lakefront lots. So going from the bottom along the lake, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So on 2 and 3, those variances were granted. And so we were able to redraw the plan as it is today. And I just got done working with the folks at Moore Engineering to design the road plan. And that was, we didn't have a plan at the township yet because we weren't sure how they were going to approve it and where it was all going to go, and also where the wetlands got settled on. That happened fairly recently. So once we got all that information down pat, then we finished the road design on Friday, and I'll be going back to the township to make an agreement on that current road design. I wanted to firm up what my expectations of building the road were and make sure that met their expectations before signing the road agreement with them. And so my kids are all looking forward to potentially having a spot to build out there someday. And really the intent would be, if you look on the bottom of the map, lot 1 goes with lot 11 across. So my oldest boy would be on the lakefront and have a back lot adjoining, not adjoining, but kind of in the same line. My middle son Blake would have that one and the middle one across. My daughter would have that lot and the one across from there. And so the outlot in the middle would be owned by us, either my wife and I, until the kids get the lots, and then it would be jointly owned by the kids after that. So it would be connected to all their lots. And then the 5 lots, up on the north side would be sold to help pay for the development costs. So that's kind of my intent. You have any questions for me at all?
I just had a comment. Looks like you've taken care of things that needed to be taken care of from different agencies. I can't imagine trying to design something and comply with everything that needs to be complied with. Looks like your team has done a great job. So it looks like it's doable. I mean, I don't know why it wouldn't be, I guess, as long as, Matt, everything is taken care of, as we understand, right? As it's designed right now?
For the design, yeah.
Right, for the design, so I think you did a good job to make it all happen.
I think the one thing, Mr. Chair and Mr. Steichen, that we'll just want to work closely with the township and the surveyor is just making sure that the road stays out of that, the wetlands and then that general floodplain as well.
If they had
Going
some
into the general
recommendation-
floodplain triggers a whole series of analyses that would need to happen in terms of demonstrating essentially no impacts or no rise to neighboring properties.
If they had a concern with that, would they be coming back to us with a different plat design?
No, I think this is probably the best one that on paper looks like it avoids that, just making sure that that happens in reality.
Mr. Chairman and Matt. So I did have the wetlands delineated, so there's pink flags along that wetlands there. And there'll be, as part of the stormwater plan, there'll be silt fence installed in there prior to moving any dirt along that corridor there, and we'll be staying out of that.
And then, you know, you said that you have have a, you know, kind of an agreement set and that you're kind of under the gun, you've got 120 days to get things. If we approve to send this to the county commission, you're kind of limited on your road plan
Yeah, so,
to get it to the county commissioners, so.
so I submitted the potential plan to Matt and Everett at the township on Friday. And so I've got the road plan drawn up, but we just haven't, agreed on it and got the road agreement signed yet.
You're potentially just a township meeting away.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Kravinoff, did you have?
Well, mine was sort of a cute comment, but I'll make a compliment first. You know, I appreciate, much like Dave was doing, the amount of work you put into this. We've had other developments over time that have met challenges before too, similar with wetlands and all that. And I know it's not easy to do, and you're being as efficient as possible and sensitive to the areas that we need to be. My cue comment is that I sell real estate, and when I sell a house, the kids get their own bedroom in it. Like you have that one figured out.
Yeah. Uh-huh. No comment on that. You already know the drill.
Okay,
Mr. Chair and Matt, this is brought up, to make it clear, the 120 days, is that for them to receive an answer, or is that for them to respond with some request?
No, that's just essentially for the final plat. So, no, they would,
But are we under the 120,
No.
or are they under the 120?
they are.
they are in the county commission.
I just want to make sure.
Yeah, no. It's never been, I'll just say in my time, that's never been an issue.
Okay.
Thank you, Scott. Anybody else anyone else have questions for Mr. Manthe? Anybody else in the audience wish to speak for or against, or online? Anyone in the audience? Okay, please come to the board and, well, you know the drill. State your name again.
My name's Jeff Julin. I'm the neighbor to the south. Not 100% sure getting the road through the isthmus or whatever I'm saying is a great thing. I guess if you guys are okay with it, that's how that goes. And my opinion would be it's his land. He's trying to do the right stuff. I guess I'm okay with that. That's it.
Thank you. I guess my only concern is, you know, some of these rural areas with the roads not being, is snow. And hopefully that's not an issue. So, thank you for your comment. Okay, start all over again. Anybody else in the audience or online that wishes to speak for or against? Anyone in the audience or online wish to speak for or against? Anyone in the audience or online wish to speak for or against? Hearing nothing, look for a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Kurt, seconded by Brad. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Public hearing is closed. Thank you for all the legwork you did before you came here. I appreciate that. So this is going to be a duplicate of the last hearing. So we have three options. Mr. Steichen?
I had a question. I didn't catch what the last speaker was referencing, Matt. Could you explain?
Concerned about the road.
Can you draw on the map?
Yeah. Just the placement of the road here.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Okay, so it's, you know, like I said, it's identical to the last one. We have three choices. We can recommend, approval to the planning commission. We can recommend the planning commission approve this and we waive our right to review it again. Or we can recommend denial of the plat to the county board. Mr. Steichen?
Steichen will recommend the authorization of the final plat, waive the right to review, and recommend to the county board
For approval.
of approval, yeah.
Thank you.
I'll second.
And a second, a motion by Dave to approve with option 2, second by Josh. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. That moves on to the county commission. Thank you, everyone. Mr. Matt, unfinished business.
No unfinished business, Mr. Chair.
Okay, how about new business?
New business, just want to say that on October 7th, your recommendation for that text amendment denial did go to the county board, and the county board did ultimately approve that text amendment. So just for your own awareness on that, we'll see if anything comes of that in the future. And then something else to put on, does anyone have any questions on that at all?
I'll just add, Matt, how many parcels by the decision we made on the ag center, or, you know, on the cannabis, how many, just so they're aware, how many other opportunities that creates in Clay County?
Yeah, and it's, would create, I mean, it's roughly 20 parcels, so 8% of the total parcels, and I think that was one of your basis for denial, just a lot of those being greenfield development. But yeah, so about, 8% of the lots would meet that. They would need a building and things like that, so. Without a variance, and someone can always request a variance, and that may or may not be granted, but. Any other questions for me at all?
Please come up, I can't hear you, so.
Just one question, when would be the next board meeting then?
It'd be the same, the November 18th.
18th?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Mr. Steichen?
Mr. Chair and Matt, not that we need to know everything about, one time we got an update on the diversion. Are we entitled to have someone come to us? And just people ask me about it, and I do listen to the commissioners' meetings and try to follow what's going on in city hall chambers for that, but it's hard to piece it all together sometimes. But we did have a presentation a year or two ago, and I thought it was pretty neat, and we could ask questions, and they were willing to answer. And is that a possibility?
Yeah, absolutely. I can check with, I think in January, we had that presentation from Eric Dodds with the AE2S. I can check with him, and then I could also check with Chris Bakkegaard to see if someone from the Diversion Authority would be willing and able to provide just an update on that, especially now as the construction phase of that is moving into Clay County with the construction of the southern embankment. Also be maybe a good time at a less busy planning commission meeting to look at that potential dam safety and the zoning, just restricting that development around on the dry side of the dam, just in case of a dam failure. That was a recommendation from the DNR too. So that can be something that we could visit here before the end of the year for sure. So I will look into that. That's a great suggestion.
Do you have guidelines on that already, on that dam, on the?
Yeah, we do essentially have some guidelines on basically the setback distance from the dam. Yep.
Yeah.
We've had a few hearings where buildings are different projects that we dealt with that, but yeah, we need to do need some more input on that.
Sure. Yep. And then any other projects too that you would like to hear about? I know there's there's been a lot of a lot of open houses on the Maple River Cuyuna transmission line project. that might be potentially coming through Clay County. And so I don't know if anyone's had a chance. I've attended one of the open houses and it was very informative. And I think that once the routing is more firmed up, potentially might be looking at they might be coming to the county board, could potentially see if they could give a presentation of that project to our planning commission as well.
Thank you. Any other?
Yes, one more thing. Looks like Laura, you are up for reappointment. Just realized that today. So, if that's something that you're interested in continuing, this would be your third term, I believe. Yes. So, if that's something you're interested in, you don't have to answer now. But if you're willing to give it another 3 years, would look for a motion to recommend reappointment. Okay.
Please say yes. Okay, well, we appreciate it.
You need a motion?
Okay, you making a motion, Paul?
No, I'll let someone else.
I'll motion that Laura is appointed for another term.
Okay, motion by Josh,
Second.
seconded by Sebastian, that we ask the county commissioners to reappoint Laura to her third and sadly then final term as a planning and zoning commissioner. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you. Carry the ball, Paul. Okay. Hearing nothing else, look for a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Motion by Laura, seconded by Brad. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Hearing is closed. Thanks, everyone.